right, good morning everybody. Thank you for being here today. We're here because, as you may know, a couple of weeks ago we were made aware of what could be concerning information about Swan Lake. So this group immediately joined together to investigate and find out. You'll hear repeatedly today that Swan Lake is not a source of drinking water, and I want everybody to remember that. That is key. Each organization you'll hear from today has a stake in communicating with residents. We are here to share as much or as little as we know, but whatever we know, we are going to share with residents. So today you'll hear from Will Raymond. He is the Director of Operations and Water Quality for Truckee Meadows Water Authority. Trina Magoon, City of Reno Director of Utility Services. Dwayne Smith, he is the Division Director of Engineering and Capital Projects for Washoe County. And also available to answer questions that may pertain to public health is Kevin Dick, our Washoe County District Health Officer. So with that, we'll begin with Will Raymond.
Thank you everyone for attending.
Hi, Will.
Hi
One
there.
second. Gotta make sure you're looking good too.
You need a lot of help with that.
Nah. Thanks, buddy. Good.
So Truckee Meadows Water Authority has a stake in working with our partner organizations to try to get some messaging out about your drinking water in this area. Well, I'm here to answer questions and give you an idea of what we're doing, what PFAS, PFOA occurrence and regulations are out there, but mainly just let you know Swan Lake's not a drinking water source for us. We don't treat it, never has been. It's just not in the drinking water realm. So really, I'm here to answer questions. The new rule is pretty early. The PFAS regulations are not finalized yet. Hopefully by the end of this year, there will be a finalized rule, and that kind of gives us our roadmap on where we look for occurrence and at what levels. TMWA did look in 2013 as part of the unregulated contaminant monitoring rule, and we did not find any PFAS contaminants or constituents. State of technology has changed a lot over the last 10 years. We can now see stuff that we couldn't see 10 years ago. So now that we have this new technology, we can look with contract labs to see what occurrence is. But other than that,
I'm gonna steal the mic real quick. Thank you, sir.
yeah. So we're on track. We're on the regulatory process to get prepared for what we see when we do our required sampling and to make sure we're fully compliant with all drinking water regulations by the time it goes into effect 3 years from the date of finalization. So that's my part. Don't know if that, now I step away.
We'll do some questions
Okay.
at the end if you like.
Got it.
Okay, and Trina. We're putting new batteries in the microphone, so you'll be able to hear in just 1 second. So let's hold until they get that replaced.
Can you stand up here for a second so I can stand up? Make sure you're looking good too. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trina.
Thank you. There you go. Great, are we good? Okay, thank you, Bethany. Good morning, everyone. I'm Trina Magoon, Director of Utility Services for the City of Reno. There are a few key areas that the City of Reno is focused on. Trace amounts of PFAS have been found in treated effluent across the nation, including at the Reno Stead Water Reclamation Facility, which flows into Swan Lake. As part of our American Flat Advanced Purified Water Facility, which is a potable reuse project still in the early phases of design, 10 to 12 samples of secondary effluent water from Riswharf were taken from the facility in 2020-2021 timeframe, each resulting in trace amounts of PFAS. From this sampling, we're confident that the higher levels of PFAS found in Swan Lake come from another source, potentially a surface water runoff contribution. The city and our partners, Washoe County and TMWA, have recently conducted additional sampling in the North Valleys, including samples at Riswharf. The results of those samples are expected to be available in approximately 4 to 6 weeks. The labs that do the testing for PFAS are pretty backed up because people are taking samples across the nation. As a precautionary measure, the City of Reno immediately stopped our plans to irrigate the American Flat Farm with water from Swan Lake. The farm will be irrigated with water from TMWA until further notice. And as our next precautionary measure, the City of Reno will be posting signs on City of Reno property around Swan Lake notifying people of the presence of PFAS and to avoid contact with the water. Lastly, I'd just like to commend our team and thank our staff and community partners, TMWA and the Health District and Washoe County, for coming together to address this challenge and keep our community informed. Thank you.
All right. And next we have Dwayne Smith with Washoe County.
Ooh, you're gonna get up all close in there.
It's just going to be difficult, maybe that's okay.
Does it tighten up at all, or?
That should hold there. That one
Do you really need all these cameras?
Yeah. I think the key is this one here, but I can't. There.
2 seconds. You comfortable?
I'm never comfortable. That's not a flaw of the system. Good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Dwayne Smith. I'm with Washoe County and wanted to thank you for coming out so that we can share this important information and ask you to help get this information out into our community. So as you've heard Trina and Will discuss some of the details, I also want to mention Washoe County's Lemon Valley Water Reclamation Facility. That's the facility you see immediately to your right. This facility only discharges fully treated effluent into Swan Lake periodically, but we, working together with our partners, have started the process of sampling for the treated effluent that comes out of the plant. Now, we don't want to second guess what those test results will look like, because most of the water that comes into the plant comes from residential areas. We believe that these levels of PFAS compounds will be low. I just again reiterate, I think we can't say it enough times, that Swan Lake is not a drinking water source. As you've heard though, we've just been recently made aware that there are PFAS compounds in Swan Lake. We began collaborating immediately, working together with our regional partners to ensure the residents that that we're able to share the information that we have and as quickly as it's developed. We ask for your patience though. We all have questions. You have questions, we have questions. Lemon Valley is part of our community. These are Washoe County residents, these are City of Reno residents, these are our partners that live out in these areas. And so while we don't have complete knowledge and information this morning for you, we want to assure you that as we go through this process, we will share this information with you as quickly as it can be developed. We do know this, PFAS compounds were introduced into our environment from industry and consumer products such as nonstick pans, food packaging, and firefighting foam starting back in the 1940s. These traces of PFAS compounds are found everywhere in our environment. That's in the water, the air, the soil, animals that we see around the world. Testing for them is improving. So we're able to now understand that the prevalence of these PFAS compounds are greater than what we first thought. We don't know exactly about the health risks associated with PFAS compounds, but we are very concerned. So we want to share our caution with you. Please, as you come out and enjoy areas like Swan Lake, we just ask you to take caution and not recreate in Swan Lake. At least not until we get more information and guidance from our health district and our state of Nevada partners. Again, this comment is made with the overabundance of caution until we know more, and we are all on that path to learn as we go. So we just wanted to come out this morning, share some initial information with you, let you know where we're at in the process, and assure you that as we continue to move through this, we will share this information with you as quickly as we can. I'll turn it back over to Bethany.
All right, thank you. So as you heard, these PFAS chemicals, they are everywhere, but we are monitoring TMWA, Reno, Washoe County. We are all monitoring this together. We're on top of testing, and we just want to get that information out to you. So with that, we'll take questions, and the appropriate expert will come up. Yes, sir.
I have a couple questions. One, you said that we shouldn't be in this water. This water is in the playground at the school right now. They were up putting things around it this morning. So, what are we doing about that?
This water is in our yard.
It's in our yards. You guys have known that there's a problem since 20 or 21, and we're just now hearing about it. My grandchildren drink that water.
So I'm Kevin Dick. I'm the District Health Officer for Washoe County Health District. And when we became aware of the high elevated concentration that was found in the sample that was collected in Swan Lake, we went out to the school and we observed there that there was standing water, but it's not the lake water. It's water that's running off and filtering in. It's not connected with the lake at this point. And I would also point out what we have is one sample that was collected by a graduate student in 2021. And that showed higher concentrations of PFAS here in Swan Lake that were much higher than were found in other water bodies that were sampled. So it's really a one-point type of sampling. There was a preliminary result that still showed that there were PFAS at elevated levels, but much lower than that sample found from a sample that was recently collected. And we're awaiting additional sample results. There are 16 states, I believe, that have surface water quality standards for PFAS. And of those, I believe it's Wisconsin has the lowest thresholds for PFAS concentrations. And the levels that were found at the UNR study are still significantly lower than those surface water concentrations. So I think the reason that we're here today is because we have limited data. And we did have that data that we just recently became aware of that was from 2021 that caused concern for everybody. But I don't see currently at Swan Lake as a significant health risk based on what we know. What I'd like is to get a lot more information and results. There are samples that have recently been collected. As has been pointed out, it's not a drinking water source. And
House right back there,
so
right in the middle of the water. Turn around.
it's not a drinking water source.
Well, it was for you.
And so it's not being ingested, and ingestion is really the more significant route for PFAS exposure. Dermal exposure is not expected to lead to any significant risk for people. So we're awaiting further information. I think we also need to find out is if there are any impacts to groundwater, because we do have drinking water wells, and there were some monitoring well samples that were collected. There are tests that are available for people that do have wells if they would like to test for PFAS to be able to determine if they are having any impacts in their wells from PFAS. But I think at this point we're really primarily alerting people to this based on the information that we have. Out of an abundance of caution, we're recommending people avoid recreating in the lake, keep your pets out of the lake. But as I said, from the information that we have so far, it's below the surface water standards that have been established by the states that have those standards. So, thanks.
Excuse me. I live on Pompey, and we are currently putting a home together and moving, but we're a 10-acre parcel. 9 of it's underwater. My grandchildren play in the dirt that was underwater. How concerned should I be now? Because my grandbabies are out there in the dirt that this water was under. I mean, so can you guys come out and test my soil so I know if I need to be concerned for my grandchildren's health in the future?
We're awaiting some sample results that TMWA collected.
I'm asking you to test my dirt on my land right now because my grandbabies, as we speak, are out playing in their yard.
And so what I'm saying is I'd like to get back some of those test results to assess what those levels are looking like.
I'm not comfortable with waiting. I want you to
I think
grab some soil for my out of their yard until we move, because we're going to be there for at least another 6 weeks. Should I not let them out be playing in their yard? They have a clubhouse. The ground that they're sitting on, the dust that they're breathing is a concern right now, not in 2 weeks from now. Do I need to keep them in the house?
Could I please respond? I think we all need to recognize that if any of us had a blood test done, likely we have PFAS showing up in our blood. This is in polar bears in the Arctic. It's in glaciers.
Polar bears aren't my concern.
It's
or anybody
this
here.
is.
We're concerned about this valley right now.
I can understand that, ma'am. And we're waiting additional results. We just became aware of this, and we're informing people so you can make your own decisions about what you'd like to do with your children at this point. I don't have further data to tell you what's in the dirt at this point.
Can I just ask some clarification, please? You said that the water in the school ground is from runoff. Did you find a trickle source that leads to that runoff? Because I live at the end of Lear Boulevard berm, and I walked it this morning and followed the lake to the school ground.
I have not done a hydrological study. I'm relying on the observations of our inspectors in the field.
I have a question. From your hydrological knowledge of the valley, what are some of the suspected potential surface runoff, transport kind of places where PFAS could be coming in?
I am not the person to be responding to that question.
Yeah, again, Dwayne Smith. So I would just quickly say that these are the same, as I said a few minutes ago, these are the same things that we're asking, these exact same questions. So we wanted to come out to you now, early in the process. We want to make sure that you know we don't have all the details about where this is coming from, what the concentrations are, and where this is leading us. But what we want to do is assure you that we're in this early stage together. We're taking these samples. We want to continue to find answers for these questions, and as these answers are developed, we're going to share them with you. This is our commitment to our community. This is the City of Reno's commitment. This is the Health District's commitment. This is TMWA's commitment. This is Washoe County's commitment to help go through this process. So as this information is developed, it will be made public. There is no doubt about that. So we're asking for your patience, because we just learned about these things. We're asking for your patience as we go through this process together.
Also, just curious what the state's involvement is like, what DEP's involvement is, if you're consulting any other state agencies like NDOW, even Wildlife Habitat.
So NDEP, the Nevada Department of Environmental Protection, they have a working group on this that was established by the legislature. They are working on this as well. So we've been in contact with them. This is a big issue across the entire United States. The EPA is just now setting standards for at this level in drinking water. So I think it's really, really important for people to know that we are working on this together. PFAS, as Dwayne said, they're in everything, everywhere. And so when we found out here that it's in the water here, we said we need to come forward. A lot of people haven't heard of this before. So what can we do to tell residents what that is? And if they need to make some personal choices to protect themselves, there's a lot of ways to do that. We're putting information on smartaboutwater.com. That's an excellent resource for information about water and how to be smart and make smart choices about your water, your drinking water. And there's information about this on there as well. So smartaboutwater.com. Do we have any media questions?
Yes, I have a question. Mr. Smith stated that all tests are being currently run, but there was a test that was done in October of last year that we still have not gotten responses regarding what came out of that test. And my issues are the fact that Washoe County has not been honest with us, has not been forthright with us, and telling us exactly what is in the standing water above in Swan Lake that is only 75 feet from our drinking water.
I would actually really like to talk to you separately about that, because right now the PFAS is what we're really concerned about, and we want to get that
test
to.
should have showed that, shouldn't it have?
I can't speak for testing.
Dwayne can. He's the one that's supposed to be doing the testing.
Again, Dwayne Smith, Washoe County. So I'm not familiar with the sample that the resident is referring to. What we do know is this, that in 2021, a graduate student from the University of Nevada, Reno, took samples at various places throughout northern Nevada. The one sample that was collected from Swan Lake showed elevated levels of PFAS compounds. That information was shared publicly at a conference at the Nugget just several weeks ago. At that point, we became aware of that information. That was the first time we were aware of a surface water sample taken from Swan Lake. Immediately, we began to work together, and I think that's the information that we want to get across to you. Now, there may have been other sampling events that occur, and certainly here at this wastewater treatment plant and at the City of Reno wastewater treatment plant, there are samples that are taken for compliance purposes, but I can assure you that there was no PFAS sample taken or testing performed by Washoe County at this facility associated with Swan Lake.
Okay, we have.
got several questions. If you wanted the community to know about what's going on, why didn't you post this on Facebook like you post everything else on Facebook, like these berms and stuff? You see the residents here? There's only a few of us here. And there's a lot of older people that don't have the internet to go on whatever. They need to know.
I'm happy. I'm happy to answer that, actually. We are Facebook live streaming right now with City of Reno. This will all be in the news later on today. This just came to us, and we issued the press release yesterday, and we're out here today to answer those questions. So
well, we all know the news edits their stuff.
I can't speak to that.
A few minutes.
Well, I'm glad you're here, sir. If we can answer questions while you're here, that's excellent. I'm glad you could be here. Are there others who?
What about the sewer spills last year?
Oh, yes, and thank you.
We also have, just so you know, the entire press conference is being recorded and will be uploaded on the websites we talked about and posted on our
So the older
sites.
people that don't have internet access, which is a lot of people out here are retired, they're in their 70s, 80s, 90s. They don't have that kind of stuff.
Well, and that's why we invited our TV partners here, is we know that
So
not
they get 3
everybody's in
minutes?
these platforms.
I mean, there's a lot more information here.
When we can
And I
them to
know,
post it.
Yeah.
I know a couple of these guys here that don't tell the truth.
Well, and we
And
will
I'm-
ask
and
our
I'm-
media to
we're
partners
all-
to post it.
Just like the water at the school comes from runoff, this all comes from runoff. This is all backed up to the school. It's backed up to people's homes.
We are happy to
We
answer.
have been sick for 6 years out here since 2017. We've been sick. There's people that
Sir.
have cancer that's not genetically involved with them.
Okay. Sir, I am happy to answer questions that I can about how we're communicating this. I hear what you're saying, happy to answer those questions, and if we can answer questions about what we know about PFAS so far, that's why we're here, to try to get that information
What
to you.
about the sewage spills last year?
I
One from this
can't speak
plant
to that.
and one from Stead plant.
I can't speak to that, I'm sorry. I'm happy to answer other questions, and then I know some of the
You
media
got
want to do
Dwayne,
one-offs.
He's here. He's the engineer for all this stuff. You got the City of Reno here. You got TMWA here. And that farm out there is taking our drinking water because you're pumping it out of the aquifers and sticking it to grow alfalfa. That's the City of Reno. You deplete that underneath our drinking water, and what happens to our wells? That's not fair.
I can't
Just
speak to
serve
that.
somebody's alfalfa fields? Because you can't take it out of this lake and go kill some horses or something? When that plan first started, a whole bunch of horses got sick from eating that alfalfa out there. Then you guys started pumping it out of the aquifers. That's not what this mess out there was for. It was to pump this crap out of here.
I'm curious, actually, we do have our citizen advisory boards, and if you'd like to bring this so that we can talk really hyper locally about that, I think that's an excellent idea. Can we do that?
I've been to them. Ask Dwayne. I've been to the county meetings for 3 years straight, and you guys still don't do nothing about it. 3 years straight.
Okay.
I
Well,
haven't missed a damn meeting.
Okay.
And now I'm on the phones watching the meetings.
And you guys see how upset he really is. He's shaking. You guys have a smile on your face that just really is not very
And Tumwa,
mad.
we've been to Tumwa meetings.
No.
We've
no.
been to Sparks meetings. We've been to Reno meetings. You know what? All you guys are full of shit. It's fucking ridiculous.
You see how unhealthy it is?
You know what? I take fucking medicine for my health now. Never have in my 57 years of living because of this crap.
Danny, that's not
This crap. You all contributed to it. You know what? If you want to listen to everybody in the past that said do not build out here like you're building, that's bullshit.
Can I come speak with you? Because I can see you're upset.
I'm very upset because I've been out here for 50 fucking years. And you guys are stupid.
I have another clarification question.
it's making it worse.
That guy, Dwayne Smith, the guy from Tumwa, you guys suck dick.
See how unhealthy
You said the water is not.
Danny, say, somebody,
Do we need help? Hold on.
somebody please.
Cassie,
Are you guys
Can we-
seriously not gonna
can we get him? No, see if we can get someone to call. We need to get him some help.
Oh my God.
We need to call. Okay,
I do have one other question regarding these PFAS.
can we have
Okay.
just until we, yeah, I just want to make sure he's okay and we can get help.
Thank you all for your patience. I think we have a couple more questions, so we'd like to do that. If we can do some maybe one-on-one with the appropriate expert, happy to do that.
I'd like this for the record.
Okay.
My question is, once you finally decide that there is enough PFAS, you have to address this lake. We have been told since 2017 this lake could not be dredged because I've heard rumors about dredging this lake. That in 2017 we were told that the aquifer is too elevated to do any dredging of this lake because of there being Class C effluent. We needed a proper filtering. So what are you going to do if there's enough PFAS in here? You've got Class C effluent and Class A effluent, and you need to dredge the lake. How is that going to work?
Who can speak to that?
Dwayne Smith, you're the engineer.
Again, to answer your question, I think that those are the concerns that we have. And as soon as we develop an understanding, working collaboratively, not just with the three of us in the health district, but also with the state, and we understand what the situation is, then we'll be able to develop the appropriate strategies. We at this point, we're early. I think we can all understand that we're early in the process. We just found out about this information. And so I would really hate to try to second guess on what the regional response will be, because we don't know what the issue quite honestly is at this point. But I can assure you that, but I can assure you,
heard about dredging already and being involved in our flooding since 2017, being heavily involved in the amount of effluent, whether it's Class C or Class A, that is in this lake, causes issues and is not the proper way to be handling effluent. So now that we know that you can't take this away, you can't, supposedly you directly told me that you could not dredge this lake to make more room because of the elevation of the groundwater. What are you going to do to fix this? How are we going to have clean water and trust that our aquifer stays clean?
so I think that you're asking a lot of the same questions that we're asking. Because if we move into this, Tammy, and we get to a place where there is a real issue that needs to be dealt with at a regional level, those are exactly the concerns that we're going to have to face together. What will be the appropriate response? I can't answer what that is today because we're early in the process. And if I can just add that we knew that coming out here today, that we wouldn't be able to answer all of your questions. We can't answer all of our own questions yet. But our commitment by being here, I hope it's clear that as these information, as this knowledge is developed and the information is shared, that we will be working through this process together. This is not Washoe County, City of Reno, TMWA, and the Health District coming out here and doing this one time. That is not our commitment to you or to any of our residents in the area. But I don't have an answer for you right now, but we will have answers as we move through the process.
And do you understand why a lot of residents are upset and can't trust
Absolutely.
you?
We understand
Because
why
we
people
had
are upset,
issues
yes.
last year in the summertime with the amount of actual sewage we were smelling, and then to find out this spring, late winter, early spring, that there was an accidental release from the City of Reno through a staffer. We don't trust anybody. And I have had to work with you, and I don't trust you. You have never been forthcoming ever, and that's why Danny's upset. And I don't blame him for being upset. Nowhere since 2017 has Washoe County, the City of Reno, city staff, Washoe County staff, and even the state government been honest with us.
Well, again, we look forward to moving through this process, learning and sharing this information, and out of that process, plans for dealing with whatever we are up against will be shared absolutely through the City of Reno, through the Health Department, through TMWA, and through Washoe County.
And I expect Commissioner Herman to get a full detail on this, because that's who I check in with all the time.
Absolutely.
And she's been left out a lot.
Clarification on the water system. I think I heard somebody say it's not dangerous. One of you said that it's not a dangerous water area, and then somebody said
Regarding drinking water?
no, just dangerous.
Okay.
And then somebody said, but we're going to put up signs that it is dangerous. So is it dangerous or not? If my kids get in it, is it dangerous? And where are the signs going to go? Because we used to have one right here, but the water's reached the school now. So we're going to put it by the soccer field and let people know that the water is dangerous water.
I don't know that the word dangerous was used, but the state of Nevada doesn't have a surface water standard for PFAS. The federal government doesn't have a surface water standard for PFAS. There are a number of states that have a surface water standard for PFAS, and so far levels that have been detected are below those surface water standards. But we have very limited data right now, and so as a precaution, I believe it was the City of Reno that stated that they were going to be posting some signs for people to avoid contact with the water, and I think that's the prudent thing to do right now. Until
Will it be up by the soccer field so the kids are playing out won't go in the water?
I don't know. I don't have the full plan for signage. I don't know if anybody from City of Reno.
Last time the signs were, if they were in the water up here, you couldn't read them. I had to get my binoculars.
Yeah. Is there anyone that can address that?
Just something to think about. I need an answer.
Okay.
So we've gone a little over time. I really appreciate everybody's patience, and I appreciate the time you've given us today. You can ask individual questions if you'd like, and then we will conclude this press conference. So thank you so much for joining us today.